As Jenna said, my name is Eli Frigoli. I'm a WordPress developer with Aten Design Group. I've been building with WordPress now for over 8 years, close to 9. I love WordPress and all that it has to offer as a dynamic and powerful user-friendly content management system. And I'm so excited to share with you the latest tools available for authors using the WordPress full site editor. Since this presentation will involve quite a bit of imagery and some video elements, I'm going to go ahead and switch off my camera so that we can keep any visual distractions to a minimum. Also, I talk with my hands, so this will be better. All right. So if you're familiar with WordPress and the classic WordPress, you are familiar with this standard what you see is what you get, or WYSIWYG for short, with a few limited options for headings, font styles, and bulleted lists. On the right side of the page, there were options to set your taxonomies and any basic publication information. Anything beyond this basic content entry setup was considered a custom extension of WordPress and was often bundled either as part of a theme or a custom plugin. On the back end, classic WordPress themes relied on PHP templates that pulled content from the editor into a loop to display it in a stylized layout. This often involved the work of a developer in order to build custom layouts and templates for use throughout the site. All of this changed with the introduction of Gutenberg blocks in 2017, which radically revolutionized the content authoring experience. So what is WordPress full site editing? Well, full site editing, often shortened to FSE, is a specific type of theme that relies exclusively on a Gutenberg-based block builder. On the front end, content entry is very similar to using Gutenberg blocks, providing real-time visual feedback for authors by rendering block previews inline. This screenshot on the right displays the real-time block editor view of a page assembled using a combination of both default and custom blocks. On the back end, a full site editor theme utilizes a JSON file to set global default values, such as spacing, colors, and fonts. The templates are then constructed using the site editor tools inside of WordPress admin, resulting in template files that are generated as HTML partials. So I'm going to pause here for a second. I'm actually very curious. Have you ever used a WordPress page builder before? Maybe a third-party tool like Divi, Elementor, Avada, WP Bakery, or maybe you've actually used a WordPress FSC theme and you're here to learn more about increasing efficiency of your authoring process. Which current FSC users, stay tuned. We're going to cover the latest features of the site editor that just released in WordPress 6.5. Maybe this entire concept of drag and drop builders is brand new to you, in which case, don't worry, we will walk through all of this together. So I'm just curious, how many of you have used a page builder in the past? All right, I see some people have used FSC. That's awesome to see. I hope that you are enjoying the full site editing experience, and I hopefully we can help you learn some tips and tools to optimize that process. Oh, some folks with other tools as well. I myself have a background working with page builders as third-party tools, so I'm very familiar with those. And if you are very reliant on page builders, you're going to love WordPress FSC because it has all of the flexibility and freedom of a page builder with a better site experience. And it looks like a few folks maybe did not use a page editor. Well, this will be a whole new world of content authoring for you. So if you are familiar with a third-party tool, you may already be used to the process of a drag and drop builder. These tools were innovative in pushing WordPress beyond that simple content entry form, but they often came with their own unique set of challenges as well. What makes WordPress full site editing themes stand apart from other page builders are their direct reliance on WordPress core. A very common issue experienced when using a third-party tool were slow sites and very extensive libraries of code that were mostly unused by the actual front end of the web page. As an extension of WordPress core, FSC themes avoid that massive code bloat and that resulting negative impact on site speed that's so commonly experienced with those third-party tools. Full site editing also is supported as an extension of WordPress core in that it receives consistent, regular updates to maintain security, improve performance, and add new features right alongside standard WordPress core releases. As an extension of core, the themes are already supported by most major plugins to avoid those conflicts that frequently arise when using third-party tools with limited support and adoption in the WordPress community. So in the world of WordPress, there's a lot of talk about blocks and block-based themes. So let's take a quick refresher on what blocks actually are. In WordPress full site editing themes, blocks represent the smallest component used to build content. Each block serves a singular purpose, such as a pull quote or an image. These blocks can be added and arranged using the drag and drop builder. By default, WordPress full site editing themes contain several common use blocks, such as headings, paragraphs, images, pull quotes, and dividers. These core blocks can be further extended and styled using custom code to tailor their functionality and style options. However, despite the fact that we can extend these core blocks, authoring needs will often exceed the bounds of what is provided by WordPress core. In these situations, custom blocks can be manually crafted in a variety of ways to suit the specific needs of the content author. This first block displayed here is the default pull quote block provided by the WordPress 2024 full site editing theme. Beneath it is an extended version of this block with a customized color and fonts to match the theme and the option to add an image of the quote author. This is a perfect example of when a core block can be extended to meet the author's needs while still serving its intended original purpose. Custom blocks create completely new blocks to serve their own unique purpose in the content creation process. This could be a call to action, a carousel of logo images, custom sidebar menus. Truly, the possibilities of custom blocks are endless, which makes the process of building one a valuable skill in the WordPress developer's toolkit. The traditional method of creating custom blocks is done by code, and it often requires an intermediate understanding of JavaScript code and reactive frameworks. This basic structure of a custom block relies on the three core functions, which can be thought of as three different views of the same block. The edit function controls the block within the WordPress editor, where the content is actually being entered and saved. The view function displays the block on the front end of the site, and it's what visitors and guests of your site will actually see. The save function applies the changes made during editing to the rendered block in the view. The full process of building custom blocks through code is a bit beyond the scope of what we're able to cover in just this lunch hour session, but WordPress provides official documentations, templates, and tutorials for creating custom Gutenberg blocks to guide the process. These custom blocks are then integrated into a site through the creation of custom plugins. Since blocks using this Gutenberg pattern follow native WordPress, these blocks will integrate seamlessly into the site editor. This method allows settings and options of the custom block to use a default WordPress toolbar pane, which results in seamless authoring experiences. In this example shown here, this is the settings pane of a custom mega menu block that leverages WordPress core menu objects and transforms them into mega menus that adhere to strict accessible web development standards. Since the custom Gutenberg pattern was followed for its creation, the menu options seamlessly appear in the editor sidebar the way they would for any other core block. While the code method of custom block creation may initially prove more challenging, the result is a fully customized block that adheres to WordPress best practices for implementing custom solutions. An alternative method of creating custom blocks is done via a plugin, such as Advanced Custom Fields Pro. The schema of the custom block is laid out in a JSON file with a PHP template defining the layout of the block at the time of rendering. The block is then registered through your site's theme functions to appear within the block library alongside WordPress core blocks. The fields needed to add content to this block are then built through advanced custom fields and set to display on the back end when you create a new block in the editor. In this method of custom block creation, the setting and content fields will appear by default in a layout more reminiscent of classic WordPress. These blocks contain two view modes, the edit mode and the preview mode. Edit mode, shown in the example on the left, will display all of the content fields for entering your block's content. Preview mode, shown in the example on the right, displays the block as it will appear on the front end of the page. While in preview mode, all of your block fields are still accessible. However, they are pressed into the block editor toolbar pane and aren't as easily accessible by authors. While creating custom blocks through Advanced Custom Fields Pro is a quicker and less technical approach to creating a custom block, it does rely on a premium plugin license and doesn't create as seamless of a user interface for content authors. When deciding which method to use to create your custom blocks, the two key factors to consider are your level of comfort with writing custom code and your preferred authoring experience. Both methods will result in fully functional, customizable blocks tailored to your content goals. Building with blocks is a breeze in the WordPress editor. Blocks can be added, edited, duplicated, and rearranged in a visual drag and drop builder interface. In this brief demo, a core divider block is added. This block has been extended with custom style options specific to the theme designs. A callout block is then built using the Advanced Custom Fields Pro method. The content is entered into the block fields while in edit mode. This is why it looks more reminiscent of classic WordPress with individual fields to enter your information. Switching it to preview mode will display how the block will appear visually in the page. This allows authors to make any changes necessary to see how their content will be displayed to users on the front end of the site. This block can then be rearranged, duplicated, and modified with just a few clicks to create a second callout block with a very different visual style. This is the simplicity and flexibility of the block builder in action. This custom block also has a selection of custom style options available so that authors are able to have creative freedom over the visual look of their block while still remaining within the guardrails of the overall site design. This helps to maintain consistency while still allowing enough flexibility to keep your layouts fresh and visually interesting from page to page. Now that we've covered the basics of blocks, let's walk through another aspect of full site editing, what really sets it apart, the site editor. Individual pages can be built using blocks, but for special scenarios, such as reusable elements or global templates, the site editor has all the tools you need to build efficiently. Opening the site editor displays a panel to control the layout and visual presentation of various aspects of your site, including the navigation, global styles, individual pages, shared templates, and reusable patterns. The powerful features we'll be highlighting in this presentation are mostly within the realm of template and pattern tools. One of the most valuable aspects of block-based themes is their ability to reuse blocks throughout the site to speed up content creation. If a collection of blocks in a specific layout can be used multiple ways in multiple areas across the site, then there are several ways to save that reusable block. The next few minutes might get a little technical, but stick with me and I'll walk you through a few easy steps of using the site editor to improve your authoring efficiency. Block patterns are the first and primary method of reusing blocks to improve your content authoring process. Block patterns are collections of one or more blocks arranged into a specific layout. Storing them as a pattern allows this layout of blocks to be inserted in a single click anywhere on their site. The content of a block pattern can be either global or changeable, depending on the specific needs of your project. In this example on the right, a call to action has been built with a link to a contact form. This pattern can then be applied to any page or post type and updated with a new heading, different color of button, or updated text and link. Updating the content in one block pattern will impact only the blocks on that page, since the content is not globally stored by default. In this way, a particular layout can be reused throughout the site, containing different content in each place that it appears. If you are looking for a global alternative, block patterns do have the option to sync globally site-wide. This setting can be activated when you create the block pattern. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. This is useful if you have a collection of more than one block and you would like to reuse it in multiple areas of your site while keeping the content of each included block consistent in every location. To save your block pattern, select all of the blocks you'd like to include in your block editor. In the case of a complex layout, switching to list view can provide an easier interface. Once all of your blocks in the pattern are selected, click the three-dot icon to open the block options menu and select Create Pattern. You can then name your pattern and assign it an optional category for easier retrieval in the event that your site utilizes several block patterns for differing content types. Block patterns can belong to more than one category or to no categories at all, depending on your site's organization process. WordPress provides several categories by default, but you can also add custom categories for managing the block pattern library in a way that makes sense to you and your authoring team. When saving your block pattern, think carefully about whether the content should be global or changeable. If you'd like to use the same layout in different areas of the site with different block content, toggle that synced option to off. For the purpose of this demonstration, we do want the CTA to remain consistent anywhere it's used, so we'll leave ours synced. To implement this block pattern, click that Add Block button to open the block library. Block patterns live in a special tab in the block library under the Patterns tab. WordPress provides a robust library of predefined patterns for many use cases, including headers, footers, portfolio galleries, and team bios, just to name a few. As you can see, this preset library provides templates for almost any scenario, which can provide a great jumpstart to building pages and content, especially if you're still trying to figure out the theme and layout that suits your project's needs. The Patterns tab provides categories for filtering, or select My Patterns to view only custom patterns created for your theme. Block patterns can also be searched for by name, using the name provided at the time of pattern creation. Clicking on your block will insert it right there into your content. Now, if you've created a synced pattern with global content, but you later require it for a specific use case to have changeable content, the synced pattern can be detached from the global library on a case-by-case basis. Detaching the sync pattern is easy by just activating the pattern block editor, clicking the three-dot option icon to open the block toolbar, and clicking Detach. This converts this specific instance of the pattern into individual independent blocks. You can then update, change, and, You can then update and change any content of the block pattern without altering the content of the synced pattern site-wide. Now, synced patterns can also be edited by clicking the Edit Original button. This opens the synced pattern in an isolated editor to allow changes to be made to synced patterns that will then be applied everywhere that the synced pattern is in use on the site. In this demo, we're updating the text and the button content, and you'll see that those changes are then going to be applied to any instance of this synced pattern that has not been manually detached beforehand. As we go back and look at our list of 3 call to action blocks, that bottom block will not inherit the changed text and button from our global synced pattern. That's because it's already been detached and it's standing independent. When viewing the patterns in list view, you'll also see that the first 2 remain synced and still have the double diamond icon to represent patterns in the library. The third pattern has been converted back into that independent group of blocks since it's been detached. One last reusable structure that I want to cover are template parts. Template parts are a unique form of block pattern. They're used in the site editor to add global content to a page template. Template parts can be composed of 1 or more block patterns in a specified layout. This template part is then saved to a template in the site editor. Unlike standard block patterns, which can be synced or unsynced based on the use case, the content and style of blocks in a template part will always be shared site-wide to all pages that utilize the template. An example of where template parts may be useful is a navigational menu or a site footer that will be globally applied to every page of your site. Creating a template part from an existing collection of blocks is easy. To save the blocks as a global template part, activate them and open the block options menu using that three-dot icon. Select Create Template Part, and then add a name and a region for your template part. Many themes come with template areas for header and footer, but adding it to general will make it easier to find in the template library. To use that template part, inside that site editor, navigate to the template or page where it's to be used. For this example, we're adding our call to action into single blog templates. In the editing pane, click to open that block inserter button and search for template part. This brings up the template part inserter dialog. You can select an existing template part from your pattern library or create one from scratch. We're going to create one from scratch next. In the block inserter button, search again for template part. There will be two options that appear. The first will say use that existing part or start blank. Starting blank allows for full customization, as any block or block pattern can then be added as usual using block building terms. After naming the part, we're going to click the inserter and add a text and media block. Once these changes are saved, this new template part will appear for site-wide use as a global template part in a special section of the pattern library. As you can see, it has the double diamond icon to denote that it is a global template part. Coming back to our pattern library, at the bottom, you'll find your template part section. And here we have our blog post author biography, which has now been saved for global use on any template. When working in that site editor, the template process follows classic WordPress template hierarchy. If you've been developing with PHP WordPress templates for a while, you'll recognize the template hierarchy having the same structure. Templates can be created and applied to individual pages or posts, as well as to dynamic page types such as archives, single custom post types, author biographies, or search results. These templates include the same Gutenberg-based block builder, but include specialized blocks such as the post content and query loop blocks, which dynamically pull content from any pages using that template and place it in a predetermined layout defined in the site editor. Templates can use blocks, block patterns, and template parts in any combination. This allows for complete creative freedom over the content and layout. Creating templates for the most common page layouts used throughout your site will not only save time when creating content, but will also ensure consistency in the layout and design of your content site-wide, since all changes to templates are automatically applied globally. The popularity of modular design and component-based web design has been on the rise for the past few years as a gateway to efficient web development and phased content creation. WordPress core themes have supported block-based building since 2020, with the past 3 annual theme releases supporting full site editing straight out of the box. The future of WordPress theming is focused on flexible and powerful block-based authoring tools, far beyond the static PHP templates of classic WordPress.